It's your boy ConcertViz34, and today I wanted to do a review of the recently released single from the Dave Matthews Band album coming out next week, come tomorrow. It's Again and Again, aka what used to be called Bob Law, or blah blah, as they used to say as well. Happy Friday, everyone. Thought I'd get a review in before I get a quick run in, before I get a quick last day of the work weekend. So this song, yet again, kind of gives people more of a vibe that this is more of a Dave solo track. Why? Well, first we have a focus on Dave himself and his singing, and we also have really an isolation of, you don't have that full band sound per se. This sounds more like Dave at a club, trying, just performing something a little more soulful, a little more funky than what you're used to from the full band's recordings. And then you have really just the orchestra type feel of this track, just like you have with Some Devil. But to me, this is what I like, this part of what's going to be this album. Some people don't, and if you don't, well, I don't know what to tell you. But this feels more centered around Dave and what he wants to do. In an interview he had that was released a couple weeks ago, he said he was going to be doing stuff that may have not been approved by others, or may have been a risk, but he was going to take that risk. What I like about this track is it is made for the studio. I've heard Bob Law, aka Again and Again, many times live when it comes to the 2016 tour. And then I believe I may have caught, and did I catch this? Oh no, I don't think I caught it for Dave and Tim last year. But it's made for people like me who run. You look at the first drop before we get to the first chorus. When it's building up to the chorus and the sound drops out, that's just another thing that, it may not be done live, but it's really dope that it's done in the studio version of this, when you want to listen to it for studio purposes. Like I said, when I run, I'm finna to go run. Got my Manchester Road Race shirt, Manchester CT, what up? And I like how this sounds from when I listen to this while running. By the way, quick plug, if you live in the Connecticut or New England area, I am running the Amica Iron Horse half marathon in Simsbury, Connecticut this Sunday. It's early, bright and early, 7:45 start, and the roads start to close down at 6 a.m. So if you live in Connecticut, if you're one of the homies out there that comments on my page and you live in CT and you like running and you want to wake up early, I will be out there. If you want to see your boy ConcertViz34 run. But I am excited about listening to a song like this with Buddy Strong being on the bill for this year's touring. Because again, now Buddy will play these kind of organ soulful parts, and then Dave can worry about the singing. Hey, maybe you get a little acoustic guitar, maybe he's on something else, we don't know. But it is exciting to see how this will sound. And to me, my favorite aspects of DMB, even though it may not be their bread and butter, I like the jazzy stuff. I like the soulful stuff because, again, I come from that background where if you look over here to the right, if you could see, I have a bunch of old school vinyls. Most of them are R&B and soul from my dad. And father knows best. So I love soul, I love jazz, funk, I love grooving tracks like this versus frickin' Mercy, or if only, it's not a bad studio version, but again, I like that they're steering away from some of the stuff and Away from the World. Still, I listen back to it and sometimes think, what, as much as I hate Away from the World, it's a good album. But when you get soulful and funky live, when you have Buddy Strong for this year, and who knows how long Buddy will be here. Hopefully he's here for years to come. But if he's only here for this year, let's hear this soulful stuff. Let's hear this funky stuff. Let's get that organ turned up here, and then mix it in with the horns. And one thing I hope, and Ants, shout out to the Ants podcast, they made a good point, and it made me think. And I said for the last single, That Girl Is You, I said one thing I liked about it is the horns weren't in it and they weren't blaring and blasting. But in the Ants podcast, if you listen to their last podcast from last week, one thing they said about Lying in the Hands of God, which is a good point, is the horns are able to play like they usually play. By that I mean, Jeff, all the projects he's been in with Bella Fleck and some of the other stuff he's done, when he can be more of a jazz musician, more of who he is outside of DMB, instead of just blaring his horns and like when they play with DMB, they're different. Jeff and Rashawn, when the more they can be more fuller sounding and not just blaring sound, the better they are. And a song like Bob Law gives them the opportunity just to be a little different in the way they play. Let them play more naturally. And that's really what Lying in the Hands of God does. I love Jeff and I love Rashawn on that song. And it's more of an improvisation, more of a what their wheelhouse of what they did outside of DMB. So that's what I like about this song as well, is towards the end, the horns can do that. And that's why I like songs like That Girl Is You and this song that are more Dave-centric, because to me sometimes, and I mean not all the time, sometimes I'm like, horns, y'all need to just chill for a second. Or horns, be more of what you are in a jazzy setting versus just blaring your sound, and it becomes almost like a sound competition for who can be louder, which horn, and then which. It's great when there's energy, but when it's a wall of sound, sometimes to me it's too much, pun intended. But we'll see what happens. There's not much more I can say on the track. I'm going to get ready to go on a quick run before work, but it's your boy ConcertViz34. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, I'm out. Again, Sunday, if you are in the Simsbury, Connecticut area, I'll be trekking up there to run the Amica Iron Horse Half Marathon. Still trying to figure out if I'm going to listen to the Mile High Dave Matthews Band 41, which I love, but it's really long, and my ears can only listen to music half the time of the half marathon race. But again, it's your boy ConcertViz34, and I'm out.